We have to evaluate why we think the way we do. And what is it that keeps us so out of balance and we don't have the peace in our life that is promised to everyone who follows Christ? We've been speaking about kings and priests. We've been speaking about how their ideas and thoughts must be different from this world system in order to be lined up with God's thoughts, who's always about peace, who's always about prosperity, who's always about good things towards us. Research that science is doing right now shows us that our thoughts are filled with stress. Now, those hormones of stress create separation because you're in a survival mode. Think about being attacked. Think about someone stalking you. You're stressful. You're afraid that someone is going to hurt you and harm you. That's what hormones of stress produce inside your biological body, is those hormones of stress, and they create separation and suspicion towards other human beings. And God has not created us that way. He wants us to be connected because He only gave a divine law to His kings and priests. He says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. And the second is like that, love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love your neighbor if you're separated from one another because of stress, if you're fearful, if there's anxiety inside of you. And that's what that does because of the survival mode you get into. There is a condition that science calls fight or flight. That means you're prepared to run or fight because you're being attacked or you're afraid you're going to be attacked. All the blood that's in your core being, in your intestines, in your liver, in your spleen, go to your outer extremities so that you'll have the strength in your arms and in your feet to run or to fight. Most people's condition physically that creates affliction is because of that mentality of stress, and the blood is no longer in the proper places for nutrition in your organs, because God produces in your body everything you need to be whole. And remember, I use the term whole because health means remembering wholeness. You were designed to be whole, to be filled with His light. In John 10:10, Jesus says, the thief comes to steal and to destroy, but I've come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. If He's given you abundant life, then you have to find out what that means. Abundant life is not from this material world. This material world is what creates the stress, what creates the separation. Abundant life is in His kingdom. And if you're a king and a priest, you can partake of that table anytime you want to. You just have to be conscious of Him. In that conscious presence is His faith, is His presence, is His peace. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't know how you were going to get out of a problem, but you trusted God with all your heart, and all of a sudden, out of the clear blue, a path opened up and what you needed came to pass? That is how we're supposed to live without the stress. In His presence, that is available all the time. It's not about getting on your knees and crying out to God and asking Him to deliver you. It's about living in that conscious presence of God where you're always delivered, where you're always in abundance. All things were made through Him, that's Jesus, and without Him nothing was made that was made. In Him, in Christ, was life, and the life was the light of men. The light that Jesus is speaking about is that first day light when God said, "Let there be light." That light is not what we see He created on the fourth day. That light is that spiritual impartation of kingdom understanding, of priesthood understanding. That's the light of abundance. That's the light of life. That's the abundance Jesus is talking about in John 10:10. You can eat of that light the same way He told His disciples, "Unless you eat of my flesh and drink of my blood, you will not have life with me." That's the light He's talking about. That's the abundance He's talking about. That's the reality of His kingdom, and that's the reality of how we're to live. Daily, not sometime in the future. You only have right now. Listen to me closely. You only have this instant to receive that light. Receive it now in the name of Christ Jesus.